Hello and welcome to This Naked Chat, a podcast where six friends from different walks of life come together for honest, unscripted conversations about living alcohol-free and everything that comes with it. We all met at a live event hosted by Annie Grace of This Naked Mind in March of 2024. What started as a mastermind group with the six of us and Annie turned into some really deep friendships, filled with connection, tough conversations, and a lot of laughter. And after a year of growing and learning together, we realized that these conversations might help more than just us. So here we are, no scripts, just real talk. We are incredibly grateful to Annie and This Naked Mind for helping us get this off the ground and for the impact that her work has had on each of our lives. I am Brian, and I am joined by Kori, Agnes, Judi, Jenie, and Sammie. Let's dive in. Hey, everybody.
Hi, Brian.
Hey.
So, I think last time was the first time we explained that we have a hat that we put topics in that have either come from us or from clients, or now Judi started promoting, liking and subscribing and submitting stuff. So we need to figure out how people do it. Put it in the comments.
Put it in the comments, Brian.
And we just draw one out like this one right here. We hope that I can read it, and I try not to react when I read it, and then we talk about it.
Hey,
ready?
Is that a Toronto Blue Jays cap? I just need to know.
No.
Damn you.
Gosh, that was crazy last night.
Yeah, it was.
All right, get on topic.
That
We're not
was
talking
a
sports.
crazy
All right,
game.
here it is.
Oh.
Things we still struggle with after leaving alcohol behind.
Oh, like everything?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Like
Life.
everything.
Okay, that's done. Next topic.
Yep. I do think that's interesting. I think about this often. That it was, how do I explain this? It was wonderful. I needed to stop drinking to get to some of this stuff. But what it has made me do is sit with some things that I was never comfortable sitting with to begin with, right? So in some regards, it does make it a little bit tougher because you actually have to kind of face those struggles versus constantly burying them or numbing them. Does that make sense?
It's called you're dealing with your emotions that you drank down before.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And I did other things, after I quit drinking. And I think that's why, I like this topic because, I was still kind of the things that I struggled with. I was still distracting myself. Like I went from alcohol, then I did marijuana because, that's better than alcohol. And then I just replaced that with extreme exercise. So, and keeping busy all the time, and it really has been in the past couple of years that I've been like, oh, just sit and kind of work through these things. I think that what someone said of everything is still the right answer. It's not a solve all.
I saw.
No, well, I was actually. Go ahead, Sammie. Go.
I was just going to say I saw a really good mantra yesterday that I've adopted for the week, and it says, "Just remember, you are a work in progress."
Yeah.
And I thought, yes, that is so true.
Yeah.
So
that made me feel better. No, I like that.
I have this one woman show that I just did in Colorado recently, and it's called Unfinished. And during the talk back, a person, actually a good friend, posed the question, and he said, why the title? Because what I just saw shows a lot of resolution, as the story unfolds, blah, blah, blah. And he said, so why did you call it that? And my response was something to it was very witty at the time, and I can't recreate that now, of course, but something to the effect of, because I'm not finished and I'm never gonna be finished. I'm never gonna be fully baked. And I think that's relevant to this topic, because the fact is the alcohol went away, but all the shit is still there.
Yeah.
And there's new shit every day. That's just life being life. And, hashtag because human and all that. Which, I mean, it's interesting to me how that in my brain ties into the topic that you pulled out of the hat.
And I think, Judi, can you talk a little bit? You bring this up a lot of like, what you kind of realize here is it needs to start with yourself, right? And like, to me, that means like self-love, self-compassion that you kind of need to learn after you do something like leaving alcohol behind.
Well, if you leave alcohol behind, because with any substance that alters us, we're not paying to we're doing everything we can to avoid ourselves.
Yeah.
Because ourselves are our emotions, right? So if you're trying to avoid yourself, not even consciously, but it's what's happening, and you may say, "Oh, I'm really no. It's this situation in my life. I can't deal with it, so I have to drink about it." Or that's not the situation at all. It's your response to it, your feelings about it. Blah blah blah. It is all. So you're looking at you. You stop the alcohol, and it's a mirror. Boom. Yeah. Here I am. Now you're looking at you, and you're feeling the feels, like Andy talks about, feeling the feels. You're doing it. And I mean, and to Jenny's point, you are unfinished because you stop growing, you stop living, and you might as well just lay down and die because, well, you might as well. If you're not learning something new every single day about something, what's the point? And it can be about yourself. It can be about relationships you're in. It can be about life getting lifey. I mean, that's Jenny's unfinished is true. Yeah. We're unfinished. We're not finished. We'll never be finished. Nor should we be. I'd be bored. Oh, I'm all done. I'm all finished.
No,
okay, bye-bye.
Thank you. Agnes, what were you coming in with earlier?
Shut up, Judi. I'm done.
Well, that is something that I went through this weekend because we had a social event. We were going to a sporting event. And it's back-to-back sporting events. So it's like, I'm tired. I don't feel like going out. I'm not crazy. I'm not a big sports person to begin with. Huge crowds, back to everything. And that's where alcohol made things so easy. It made it easy because there you go. I'd have that drink before I left. So then again, I would feel all right. I get pumped up. The adrenaline starts kicking in. Now I'm ready to go in and then continue on drinking. And I had a really hard time. I wanted to cancel. I struggled and then I wanted to break down and cry. And I did not share that, how I was feeling with anybody, because you would, again, the internal things that I'm saying to myself, what's the big deal here? But then you start questioning everything. So when you stop drinking, you are questioning, you're learning how to do everything all over again, completely differently. So either you're going back to your child's state where you're tapping into that, having fun and that playfulness and all of that, or you're learning how to do all of it. And that brings up a lot of uncomfort for me. Mm-hmm. So I was never a big social person, but you would never think that I wasn't because I was always at social events. But that I used alcohol for it until this day. Every so often it creeps in because I don't feel like going. If I drank, I could stay up until the sunrise.
Yeah.
If I'm not drinking, I want to be in bed by 10 o'clock. I don't want to, I'm checked out. So that has changed my life drastically. And it's like, then it's that question, how do you fit into that? So you got to rework everything, your feelings, your meanings, your stories, your thoughts, all of it. And then everyone around you is still being themselves, which they were before, because I was the only one who wasn't drinking.
Yeah, that's an interesting way to look at that of like it's the things that alcohol used to and I'll use air quotes, help with. What do we talk about there in Annie's stuff of like those kind of beliefs that we had? Some of them, though, feel really true, don't they? Like, I can't be in a social situation without alcohol, or this helps me relax. Like, some of those feel really true, and I wonder how you, I'm in the same boat with that, Agnes. Like I'm like, I know I used to be able to handle this, but now I what is it? Like, I don't want to, so this isn't something I should be doing, maybe. I don't know.
But then you could turn into isolation, right?
Yeah,
And then
sure.
all of a sudden, it's like it's very easy for me to say no and then just stay cooped up
Yeah.
inside. And that's not what I want either. So,
Yeah.
again, it's just relearning everything. But again, if you know that that's just a process and it will come and go and you just move through with it. Am I happy that I didn't drink? Oh, yes. Beyond happy. I didn't wake up with a hangover. I went to bed properly, completely happy. Did I get through the whole event? Yes, I did. And I did. I pushed myself out of my comfort. So I enjoyed it. So I cheered and I did all of those things. So, but I had to consciously think about, and this is where you got to put in those tools. I had to consciously think about, okay, what do I have in my hand? I needed to have a drink in my hand. I needed to have something. So, started with coffee, then I went to ginger ale, and then I just went to sparkling water with lime. But it's like I had to plan for that out because it would have been very easy for me to fall into, I'm the only one who's not drinking. I'm the only one who's not drinking. But I'm sure there was a lot of people out there that were drinking, maybe not with the group that I was with, but in the whole arena, guaranteed there was.
I wonder if is it something about, you've talked about this with like dancing too, like, is it something about that you have to kind of prove to yourself that you can do it without?
Yeah.
Like, I'm still able to have fun in a crowd, cheer, dance, whatever it is without, but you have to prove that to yourself over and over again, maybe. I don't know.
Yeah. Well, that's the whole thing. And I think it's, again, it just showed me that there's places for me that I still need to work through. And that would be being fun and playful. That is something that I don't know how to do. That is something, and I've already known that and I've discovered that, but that's what really came up on the weekend, is how to be fun and playful, how to enjoy the moment when I'm very serious and, I don't know how to do that. So that has nothing to do with the alcohol. It helped me, but it has nothing to do with the alcohol. Now that has to do with my upbringing, because there was always a role. I always had a role. There was always caregiving. And I'm sure that I played and I had fun and all of that, but that's not, it's learning how to tap back into that and rediscover it as an adult.
Yeah. Have you guys noticed that too? Like I've noticed that lately in myself, specifically over the past couple of years, where the more I kind of dig into this, like whatever we call this development sort of stuff, that, or getting curious about ourselves, I find myself being really serious more than I am playful and fun. Did you guys notice that in yourselves? Really? Yeah. I agree, Sammie. Yeah.
But Sammie, were you always like that? Once you quit, did you immediately become fun and playful, or did it take you a little bit of time?
I think what changed is I just find the little things really fun and playful.
Mm-hmm.
Whereas before I was drinking, I was just numbed out, so it had to be a real big thing if it was going to be a what I would think of as a fun event, and it had to involve alcohol. And then when the alcohol piece wasn't there, and you do have to, the only way is through, so you do have to go through those first experiences. And what's incredible is the second time around, it's so much easier than the first time around. You think it might be, a little bit easier, but it's not. It's a lot easier. And then I just get joy and pleasure from just silly little things that make me laugh all the time. So.
Yeah. Oh, that's a good reminder.
I mean, literally this morning there's a squirrel in the window, and he was there yesterday with the nut in his mouth, and literally I said, "Oh, it couldn't be the same nut." But even that, just the thought of that, watching the squirrel coming up with the nut in his mouth, I was like, oh, "Yeah."
How long did you watch that squirrel, Sammie?
Oh, about 3 minutes.
Oh, okay.
Because I had to see where it went, and then it ran, and then it did that whole thing where they jump on the wall and they climb up the walls, with the yeah. So,
Love it.
I don't know. Maybe I was like that when I was much younger because I drank from a young age. So, it was part of my identity from early teens. But yeah, I don't know. I just think I hold things a lot more lightly now.
This episode is sponsored by The Path by This Naked Mind. It's a year-long program that combines expert guidance, daily support, and a connected community to help you take back control of your drinking so that you can wake up without regret, trust yourself again, and live a life that doesn't revolve around alcohol. Unlike the programs that focus on your behavior alone, The Path helps you eliminate the desire to drink using science-backed content, world-class coaching, and a compassionate community that really, truly gets it. So you can feel confident and in control of your relationship with alcohol without shame, without rules, and without missing out on the things that matter most. And in 2025, support is more accessible than ever before with live online coaching calls every hour on the hour from 6 a.m. to 8 p.m. Eastern, Monday through Saturday. No matter where you are in the world or what your day looks like, support is always there, right in your back pocket. Learn more and start your path to freedom at nakedmindpath.com.
It's interesting to me to recognize that the same technique I used to question everything I thought about alcohol, I have to also now employ to question kind of what we're talking about is what do I think is fun and why do I think that? And where does that come from? Because maybe I need to reevaluate that. And where did I get these beliefs? Are they really mine, or did they osmose into me from family and friends, blah, blah, blah. But it's the same technique that I had to use to question everything I thought about alcohol. It never goes away.
What can you talk about that technique a little bit?
Well, it's something from Annie Grace and This Naked Mind, and
Not familiar.
Called the ACT technique. And it's a way of just a simple-ish way to lead you to some pretty complex insights about all of your core beliefs and sometimes those annoying automatic negative thoughts that fly through our head all day. And it's just a means to get awareness and question those beliefs as to whether or not they really are true for you, and think about when or where is the first time you remember having this belief, and where do you think it came from, and is it true fundamentally? That is the question, is that belief true for you? And if not, how can you turn it around to something that feels more true?
I'll stay on that topic here. So this is something that made me think of is things that we struggle with after leaving alcohol behind. I think all of us, maybe not Sammie and Judi, not necessarily, but because I think you were always kind of in the line of work that you're in. What I've seen a lot is when people leave alcohol behind, they then start to kind of, to Jenie's point, question about everything. So like, I was drinking and in a corporate career, I quit drinking, and all of a sudden now my mind about like those jobs is like, I can never go back and do that again in my life. What's that about? Like that's what I think lately the hardest part has been like, man, like there's some purpose driven stuff now.
So the question is, because why, right? Why can't you do that again?
Yeah, no, I mean I switched to like a helping mode. It seems like I can no longer work for something that I don't, and it gets to Jenie's point about like, you kind of maybe reconnect with your values a little more. And some of that work that I was doing, helping someone make more money, now feels a little out of alignment for me. That's what I've seen a lot of in this kind of realm that we now live in. You guys were kind of already, a lot of you are already doing that kind of work before you stopped, but it seems
But
to
I
be a
think part of
pattern.
that is alcohol can help you to not think about things in terms of your values and, you know, your morals, all that sorts of things. It's easy if you're drinking, then you can just, oh, it's not that bad, and almost kind of not really acknowledge it. Whereas when you're not drinking, then it's right there.
Yeah.
You can't pretend otherwise.
So the one thing that not drinking, the one thing that it has given me is the ability to have conversations, difficult ones. And that's one thing that I would have them, but coming from a negative place. So more of the judgment and ego coming out, where now I can have them and I'm not second guessing myself in the sense of what did I say? What didn't I say? I remember every single conversation. I'm able to do that. So if I was to go back into that business world, oh my God, I think I would kick ass, because
Interesting.
I would be a totally different level of management, of ownership. Oh my God, I can see, you know, how I handled things, how I would do it so differently in a positive way when you have that clear mind. And that clear mind is not having that alcohol in my bloodstream, in my nervous system, trying to fight itself off. So my patience level wasn't there, the jumping, the everything. But socially, that's where I really struggled. That one I still haven't, like, that's the one that I find is hard, because there isn't that playfulness that I so badly want, and I don't know how to do it and I've used alcohol to do it my whole life. So that's where I'm struggling.
Here's what I'll say is, when you stop the booze, you start to see who you are and where your emotional struggles are to begin with. And maybe you started drinking because it was hard to play back then. So I want to play. So I'll drink so I can play. And then you stop drinking and go, oh, I don't know how to do this. Well, you didn't know how to do it before.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So welcome. Happy birthday. It's the first day of your life. Learn.
Yeah.
I mean, what do we learn without alcohol? Happy birthday.
Yep.
That's where I thought you were going. You started to say something around like the alignment and the values, or you were shaking your head. And I think that to me was what I noticed in you. And I, you know, to be like, yeah, you were probably weren't, I don't know. I don't know about the word like authentic, but like, you know, you kind of figured out your values, you figured out who you are, and you were masking those the whole time. Maybe. Does that sound right?
Who are you talking to?
You were shaking your head at that, like when I said something about and you just said it there of like you were living out of alignment to begin with.
Well, and it's and the thing about emotions, you can't just shut one or two down.
Yeah.
When you shut them down, they all go. Right?
Good and bad.
They all go.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So if you're going to numb one, you're going to numb them all. So when you come back, you go, oh. And so why do we get serious? Well, maybe we have some serious work we have to do on ourselves. Why can't we play? Well, maybe we never learned how, and happy birthday. So all of everything can change. Everything can be new. You don't have to. And once you get a flavor of it, like, all right, I did this and that, and then I drank because I didn't want to see this or that, and I didn't want to deal with all this and that. And we didn't know it consciously then, but now we know. So now we can say, all right, so I can deal with this and put it over here, but I don't have to live in that. I don't have to live in the mucka that caused me to drink. I can say, I can look at the mucka. I can journal about the mucka. I can get therapists and coaches to deal with the mucka, but that's not who I am. So I can say, yes, I have a trauma history. Yes, I do. But guess what? That's not who I am. It's just a piece of what I lived through. Right?
Mm-hmm.
So to drag that as a sack over your shoulder all the time is where you get too serious.
Yeah. I love
Don't
that.
you
Because
think language is really important as well, though, here, isn't it? You know, because the words we use and things we tell ourselves plays a massive part. So I think reframing how you talk to yourself is huge in terms of having the more playful side of things.
And I think too, this is all a whole process of getting not only reacquainted, but actually just acquainted with who we are underneath all that shit, really. And yeah, the trauma bucket is in there, and maybe there's mental illness in there, and maybe there's, other stuff over here. But it's all about getting acquainted and reacquainted. But also, what I have found for myself is that that's uncomfortable too. And can and has led me to, oh God, well then that's too scary. So I'm going to go over here and learn more about trauma. Or I'm going to go over here and learn more about mental illness and trauma. Or I'm going to learn more about so I, can escape that getting acquainted process and escape into sort of over-educating, which I think is a thing. I never believed that, but now I do. I think it's a thing, and it's its own addiction almost. Because yes, getting all of that knowledge does inform the acquaintance process, but you have to stop reading a book and jump into the acquaintance process instead of choosing to read another book, which is what I do or have done and am trying to be more aware of. So I think for me, at least, that's also a cautionary tale a bit.
I feel that one 100%. That's what do you guys think of, Judi? You were going to say something. Well, does it tie to this like getting acquainted process? I think that's an interesting piece.
My quick thing is just as 2 words: self-judgment. You have got to let go of that. Because, I'm not doing this right. I'm not doing that right. I'm not acquainting myself right. I need to learn more about this because then I'll be able to not judge myself.
Yeah.
Just let it go, period. Now I'm done.
No, that's where I wanted to get. I feel like exactly what Jenie was saying is like you can get caught in that just cycle of like, I want to figure out, like, not just get acquainted, which we said earlier was kind of like, this is probably a lifelong process of learning about ourselves, right? It's not like, I feel like sometimes I'm hoping that, I wake up in the morning, it's like, here, this is who you are. And that doesn't happen. It doesn't seem like, unless one of you will please tell me that it does, and that would be great. But it seems more like Jenie's saying is like, you can overanalyze trying to get or speed it up. And Judi, that keeps coming up for me over and over is like, self-compassion, self-love, letting go of the judgment, those sort of things, and just kind of letting it flow.
Well, just think about yourself as your own best friend. And when you had a friend, you don't just, that's who you are. It develops the relationship, and how you know that person develops 1 minute at a time.
Yep.
And that's how your relationship with yourself develops. 1 minute at a time.
We should drop it right there, shouldn't we?
Amen.
That was pretty good.
I also think we're in danger of keeping ourselves stuck, just because we might never have done that thing. That doesn't mean that we can't do that thing,
What do you, did you have something in mind there?
What?
Like of the thing? Because I know Jenie mentioned that too, of like, you just got to do it. Is there something in your guys' mind there that you were thinking?
Well, all the things that I used to do, I thought I had to do drinking.
Oh, okay.
I now do not drinking, but it would have been easy for me to go, well, I can't do that anymore because I need to be able to, I have to drink if I want to do that. So that's not who I am anymore.
For me, it's
a different experience. You have a different experience when you do it not drinking. So it's great.
Yeah.
And you may not like it anymore, or you may love it. Yeah. Like that's a thing too, is you're like, you know what? I liked that when I was drinking. When I'm not, it's not really that my thing anymore.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I was just going to say that, like for me, for one thing was when I was drinking, things didn't have to be perfect. I was more easygoing about things. Once the alcohol was actually in my body, in my system, I was easygoing. So, things wouldn't really upset me because I was in La La Land. But I find that now without drinking, I've become more of a perfectionist. So that's where it's like, that's now what's happening, where it's like, because I'm fully aware of it, I want to make sure everything is right. So, and it doesn't matter what exactly it is that I'm doing. So that's where it's like, now it's learning how to be gentle and to be accepting of just what is.
I wonder how that informs your struggle with being playful.
Yeah, well, that would be interesting to go down that road.
I have found, and I only say that possibly too directly to you because when I was drinking, I was doing a lot of theater, and part of the act of being in a play is playing. I was really good at that. Being disinhibited and doing whatever was, I thought, a character should do when I was under the influence. And when I continued to do theater, those first few projects, alcohol free, I really struggled with the play aspect of acting. Really struggled. And I still do. Initially, it's not nearly as bad, but that was a huge learning curve for me. Was to kind of channel what it felt like to play, but not with the alcohol. I had to learn how to do it, kind of like a toddler learning to walk.
Wonderful. Any other gems before we wrap it up?
I was just going to say on that point though, but when you're sort of a toddler, if you watch them, they just play unapologetically. So I don't think that's ever lost in us. It's just that we've anesthetized it for so many years. So it's kind of peeling off the layers to find it again.
Find your play.
Yeah.
Yep. Exactly. You guys are the best.
See you next week.
Okay.
Yeah,
bye,
bye.
everybody.
Leave comments.
Thanks,
Yeah,
everyone.
there you go,
Comments.
Judy. Like and subscribe. Beep, beep. Hey, that's it for today's episode. Thank you so much for listening. If something we said resonated, made you laugh, or made you think, we'd love it if you share it with someone who might need it too. And if you're curious about going alcohol-free or just ready to feel more connected to yourself, check out This Naked Mind. Annie's work brought us all together, and we're so grateful for the impact it's had. On that note, a big thank you to Annie Grace and This Naked Mind for making this podcast possible. We'll see you next time on This Naked Chat.